Welcome to Rock and Roleplay. I'm your host, TheHumanFloyd, and with me today are our returning players, starting with Taruha playing Cassie Gresham.
Hello.
We also
It's
have
me.
Serestia playing Trixie Twinsmith,
Hello.
and Taage aka Varlynd playing Quintly Rictus.
Hello there.
And also, we have the guy who is too cool for season premieres, Malfunction, returning to Rock and Roleplay.
Hey.
And Mal, tell us a little bit about the character that you will be introducing in this episode.
So I'm playing a Goblin demolitions expert named Noibit Multi-Tweak. Noibit Multi-Tweak. And you can tell I'm a good one on account of the fact that I got all my limbs and half my eyebrows.
So he's a demolitions expert paid by the Horde
Exploit.
to demolition things. And do you have anything
You
else
got the
to...
bada bing. I got the bada boom.
All right. So just so you guys know, you should follow rphq.org on Twitter for updates, and you can also go to rphq.org for roleplay inspiration and resources. It's a good place to keep up with us and what we're doing with Rock and Roleplay and other projects. I also want to make a shout out to tabletopaudio.com. They have promoted us before, and we are going to be using a lot of the tracks that he makes. It's for anybody that does dungeon mastering, game mastering. It's a really great website because you get free downloads of really good ambiance music. And we'll be using some of those, and we used a couple in the last one too. So
The epic part always kicks in at just the right moment. I don't know how he does that.
It's crazy. It's like magic. It's like he's sitting there live mixing it for you while you roleplay.
Live D&D DJ.
So before we get into what happened last time and get ready to roleplay, Mal has an announcement that he would like to make.
Hello, everyone. So I wanted to take a moment from the show to mention something that's very important to me. Today is the International March for Science, which is a nonpartisan global display of unity that is requesting better scientific habits from our duly appointed representatives. In short, the movement is asking for political claims to simply be evidence-based with sources provided. Unfortunately, the marches will be occurring during our podcast, but if you still want to contribute, this is no reason to fret. You can help spread awareness by sending one of your representatives your favorite peer-reviewed scholarly study or article. Every little bit helps. I'd also like to add that my statements in no way reflect the views of Roleplay Headquarters or the staff of Rock and Roleplay.
Well, I think facts are good. I think we should base decisions on facts.
Yeah. That sounds like a sound idea.
I'd march for that cause.
All
I
right.
think someone had to go get the phone.
That was unexpected. Nobody ever calls me.
Of course.
All right, so we are going to get in. I'm going to catch us up on what happened. Are you guys stoked for the game? Any pre-game thoughts before we get into it?
Haven't died yet. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a pretty good campaign so far. I have all of my limbs. It's, yeah. Good.
I have very different priorities for my character. Loses his limbs on a regular basis.
Only goal
Just
of this
sews them
entire
back on.
campaign is to keep the centipedes alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
So far, I'm doing pretty good at that.
All right, yeah, even though, who was it, Arthur almost got swept away last time.
Yeah, to be
Oh,
fair,
yeah.
like Quintly is not really helping, but they are keeping themselves alive. So that's good.
The drama was real.
It was pretty epic.
It was.
It was very close. I thought
Yeah.
It was gonna be the saddest session ever.
Right away. All right, so we will get into the RP mode as I catch us up on the game, and then we will play the first song. And the first song is from a band called Signal Room. Do we have any Farscape fans here by chance?
Oh my gosh, I love Farscape.
So for anybody that doesn't know what Farscape is, it's kind of like a cult sci-fi favorite. And there is actually a band that is made up of people who were involved in Farscape, including two of the actors. The guy who played Khal Drogo is the singer, and the guy who played the villain, Scorpius, is the drummer. And then they have some guys that were on the lights team. So yes, we're going to be playing a song by them called Run. And to get everybody caught up, the story takes place in the Warcraft universe, and it's just after the end of the Scourge War, which was a deadly conflict with the Lich King, who had the power to control large swathes of undead with his mind. And there are two victorious factions who managed to defeat the Lich King, the Horde and the Alliance. They are now holding the resources that they've claimed in Northrend and keeping the undead who still remain on the continent at bay. The undead no longer have the control of the Lich King, so they're not an organized threat, but they can definitely overwhelm when shambling in large numbers. Trixie Twinsmith and Cassie Gresham are two Alliance veterans now stationed at Star's Rest, and they were sent with their commanding officer from the war, Shalani, who is a Death Knight who resisted the Lich King's control and fought against him. They were sent to investigate strangers who have been landing in this treacherous landscape, and they were pretty weird. You guys met a gnome named Gendry that was obsessed with geology. You met a grumpy orc, you met a human, and a couple of other people, and they talked about spirits and nature worship and think that there's some kind of great natural disaster in the near future that their shamans have been having visions of. And after talking to these people, you were going to go look for Shalani, who had gone investigating their boats. And she came running and motioned for you guys to run with her. And as you were running away, the orc that you met threw a spear at you, which got Cassie in the arm.
Yep, that was painful.
And meanwhile, Quintley Rictus, who is secretly a smuggler, smuggling Horde goods into the Alliance, is an undead who was stationed in Warsong Hold, where an outlet for his tailor shop is. He got a note from the runner of his smuggling operation, a troll named Lisa. And it was a weird note. It kind of rhymed, and it's not very typical of her to be kind of flaky like that, and he doesn't really understand what she was saying in the note, and so he's going to investigate.
Pretty much 99% he's walking into a trap.
Yes. And on his way to the trap, he ran into some troubles.
I like that you're just calling it that.
He ran into even more troubles before he meets his other troubles. And he had a guide with him, an orc named Haqq, who kind of left you in the dust a little bit.
Yeah, he wasn't happy with how I was rolling.
He didn't like your dice rolls, so
It didn't.
So,
no natural 20s. Get the fuck out.
Yep. So he left you behind, and now Quintley is running after him with a horde of mindless undead behind you. There was also an earthquake, and now you're running into the tundra and the situation is looking not great.
Man, how bad were those rolls?
They were bad.
They were pretty atrocious.
They were hilariously bad.
He's a social character. He doesn't have any like outdoorsy skills.
You saw how he acted with the top hat incident.
Yeah, it was poor guy
I'm
was
gonna miss
traumatized.
that hat.
Yeah.
So we are going to play the first song, and then we're going to jump in right into the role play with Quintly Rictus. Enjoy.
Welcome. You rocking right?
I got my list in, I'm through requesting. My world is on my back, I'll sketch another picture. I got my boots on, I fear before long. My pavement pounding's gonna leave me with a blister. I've caught the tide now, swept past the rules now. My body's swept under the current of my mistress. Another corner, not stopping for her. I'll pick up speed, I'll chase the wind, I'll get assistance. Not feeling tired, I can't, I'm wired. Not gonna sleep until I reach another gold mine. Up in the distance, a fellow misfit. He hasn't slept for months, but he's not looking tired. I run the same way, every second, every day. If it's in front of me, you know I wanna get there. I got my voices, I've made my choices. I may be out of breath, but fuck you, keep me angry.
You pick up speed as the undead mass shambles behind you. Being an unliving corpse yourself, you do not tire, but neither do they. Their groans and exhalations are so numerous, they all meld into a single heaving wave of sound. Ahead, Haqq rides on his wolf into the distance. You've gained on him some, but he's moving at a rapid pace. The open landscape of Transboria is before you. What was once a sheet of ice has become a field of yellow grass and volcanic rocks. To your right is the roaring coast. To your left, jagged mountains, cloaked by clouds. The large white moon and its blue child hang in the sky as stars begin to appear. Haqq is fading into a tiny dot on the horizon.
All right, and can Quintley... I mean, I'm assuming he's going at the fastest speed he can.
Yep, you're being an undead. You can't exactly push yourself harder. You go the speed that you go, and that's about all that it is.
Okay. Does the road fork at all, or does it just sort of keep going?
Nope, the road is going straight, and it's surrounded by just almost endless fields of grass. This was once a very, very desolate ice shelf.
Okay. And the horde behind me, how fast is it moving?
It's definitely moving way slower than you are. It won't be a problem at all to outrun them, but you can hear them in the distance as they're slowly heading in your direction.
Okay. And does it really seem like they're focused on me, or are they just sort of moving aimlessly?
It seems like they're more focused on Haqq. It doesn't look like they've seen you yet at all. It's almost more like they saw something run by, and so they're just kind of going that way.
Okay. Well, he keeps going. And
Are you going along the road?
I have in my bag of tricks. Yeah.
Okay. And go ahead and roll your wits plus composure to see what you notice as you're heading through Transboria.
Okay.
All right. 2 successes. So you notice that the mountains are getting closer as you run along the road. They're kind of curving along. And there are some crumbled stone ruins in the mountains. And you actually immediately recognize them as the ruins of a scourge city. The Lich King was known to take from ancient architecture for his structures. And it's made of bone and stone and painted in dried blood. Go ahead and roll your intelligence plus composure to see if you recall any information about this ruined city. Oh, nice. Go with that 10 again. So you remember hearing about a place called the Temple City of En-Kila. It was destroyed in the war, and there was said to be a massive floating fortress above it called Naxanar that supposedly crashed nearby after it was destroyed in the war. Based on what you know about the state of the undead, there are likely still some in the city. But there's no sign of the floating fortress or its crash site.
Is there any light or any sign of activity in the city?
From here, you don't see. As you are getting closer to it while you're running along, you do see a little bit of shambling between the ruins. It looks like there are probably some undead there, but it doesn't look like any living activity. And up ahead, further up on the left on the trail, you see just past the ruined city of En-Kila, there is a horde banner near the mountains.
So Quintley keeps kind of running or power walking past the ruined city, and he keeps an eye on it to see if he notices anything else. He's not going to go in there, judging by the other shambling horde.
Okay, do another wits plus composure roll.
Okay.
So you see that it looks pretty densely packed in there, which is strange because the horde did destroy this city, but perhaps for some reason the undead have been drawn to it, but there's quite a few in there. And you see, as you look over at the Horde banner in the mountains nearby, you see that there is actually a small encampment there with a couple of tents. And you're pretty sure you see movement.
He's going to move towards the encampment.
Okay. So as you are getting closer, you hear a voice which carries easily over the flat landscape. By the Dark Lady's garters! That's not something you just leave lying around. And as you come closer, you see an undead, a strange-looking undead with no shirt and a yellow construction hat on. And he's talking to a small goblin who has a giant load of explosives next to him. And
do I recognize him?
you do recognize the goblin, and you see that the undead seems to be chastising him for losing something.
Okay, Quintley approaches. Hello there, what's this all about, then?
The undead looks over at you, and then he looks back at the goblin and he says, "This no-bit fella, he lost a stick of dynamite."
See, I was just saying to the guy, I think he might be more concerned with where I might have put it than that I lost it.
Now look here, I can vouch for our unfortunately hued friend's good character. I'm sure he put it in a good place, didn't you, Norbert?
Yes.
Go ahead and Taage and roll your presence plus your persuasion. So the other undead kind of scratches at his chest, and as he does, his fingers like go between his rib cage and scratch a couple of decayed organs in there. And he sighs, and his sigh kind of comes out a hole of his throat at the same time as it comes out of his mouth with this weird kind of double sound. And he says, "It's been nothing but trouble. Nothing but trouble with you, Goblin."
Hey, I'm here to do a job. Capiche?
As am I. I am here to mine the hole that you create. But, and he looks over at Quintley and he says, "Excuse my manners. My name is Jeremy Glasgow."
Pleasure to meet you, I'm Quintley Ricketts.
You see, Quintley, we had a team of miners from Agmar's Hammer that was supposed to be here yesterday. But they haven't arrived and the entire project is delayed, and I'm feeling a bit testy.
Overworked, perhaps?
I'm thinking it's more a case of displaced aggression.
Now listen here, Goblin. If you want to see displaced...
Hey, I am not getting paid enough to put up with your sass.
Gentlemen, I'm sure we can work this out. So, we have here a little mining operation.
Ain't nothing little about it.
All right. Side operation with one construction worker and one demolitionist.
Exploit demolitionist.
Right. So, perhaps you could show me the facilities that you're working with here.
The undead motions to a giant sheer rock face and says, "This is it. This is all we have, and we must blow a hole in it and start digging. It's a wonder the dynamite even arrived."
I see. So, there may be some trouble along the road. I did see a few things as I was on my way here. Do you know anything about this city nearby?
Noibit, go ahead and roll your intelligence plus your composure to see if you know anything about the city.
I can do that.
The undead kind of shrugs and he says, nothing much. It was a city under control of the Lich King during the war.
Seems like there are a lot of able bodies in there. Perhaps there was a way we could get them to help.
As he says this, Noibit, you recall hearing from some of the talk around Warsong Hold that the undead strangely seem to be attracted to places where there have been large concentrations of undead in the past. Perhaps it's some kind of memory, but...
Okay. So I got this, right? So I was listening to this guy, and he was saying we was having a drink, right? Capiche? We was talking, and he said, "Hey, these undead, right? They ain't just wandering around. They congregate in places where undead have been before."
I see. Well, they've been before.
Yeah. You know, like undead cities or something.
What would that be, I wonder?
Maybe some sort of memory thing. I don't know. Look, I blow things up, all right?
Well, my curiosity is piqued. I was on my way to Agmar's Hammer, but perhaps I'll take a look at his city.
Hey, anything to get out of here for a bit.
As you guys talk about leaving the city, the undead man grasps his helmet in frustration and he pulls at it. And as he does, his skin kind of like peels up with it on the side of his head. And he lets go and it flops back down on his head. And he says, "We have work to do."
You ain't doing no work without workers.
Perhaps we can find some workers at this nearby city.
Yeah, listen to the one with the hat.
I have a hat.
Yeah, but your hat's all sticky. It's kind of gross.
I'd have to agree with that statement.
Well, fine, do whatever you want, but I'm not coming with you. That's madness.
Yeah, forget about it.
So do you guys head towards the city?
Why not? I got nothing better to do. It's not like we're blowing anything up today.
So as the two of you are making your way, it's not very far from the mine, actually. You do see in the distance on the horizon the undead horde that was following Quintley, slowly still shambling in this direction. And some of them seem to actually be breaking off and heading towards the temple city of En-Kala. The ruins up ahead of you, there were once massive proud walls, but now they're completely toppled down. And there's plenty of space between them for you to make your way in, but you do see that there is quite a number of undead humanoids and abominations stitched together from various undead humanoids. It looks pretty busy in there.
So, I gotta ask Quintley. We go in there. Oh, we're dead, right? Just gotta understand. Well, if me dead, you, I guess, re-dead is the void. How does that work?
I don't recommend we go inside. Perhaps there's a way we can get a better view of what's going on in there.
I like the way you think.
Both of you roll your wits plus composure. Excellent. So both of you notice that there is a pillar that has fallen over and landed on a rubbled pile of the wall, and it looks like you could climb up that and get a pretty decent view of the city without actually going inside of it.
Hey, what about over there?
Looks a bit precarious, but I suppose we could give it a try.
Why not?
All right, both of you roll your Dex plus Athletics to climb up the pillar.
We all know how this story is going to end.
Holy shit, Mal. That is a lot of numbers.
Hey, what can I say? I'm athletic. It's this glorious green physique.
All right, so both of you are able to climb up the pillar. It's pretty craggy, and there's lots of things to grab on, and it's not leaning. It's at a pretty good angle. So you shamble up there, and you have a wonderful view of the Borean tundra. Despite its harshness, it is very beautiful, and you do see where a lot of the water runoff from the mountains is starting to fill the plains and turn them into wetlands. But down below in the temple city, you see a ruined temple at the center and roughly 40 to 50 undead, including several abominations and an undead magnetar. I'll put up a picture of a magnetar. They are massive four-legged creatures similar to a centaur, but a lot bigger, and they have...
And dead.
Yes, and yes, it is undead. And they're pretty nasty.
I don't like the look of this. It's like
Okay.
someone is amassing an army in here.
So, you were saying we could recruit these guys. You got a plan?
I don't know about recruit, but they seem fairly mindless, and it's a sad thing, really. They're those who don't recover their wits when they return. I believe all of these individuals have lost their way and are being controlled by some other force. I wonder
And they're
what's
not even
inside.
getting paid for it.
I wonder what's inside that temple.
And we could go find out if you're feeling suicidal.
Quintley looks around and checks to see if there are any collapsed walls or any way that they could sneak toward the temple from the side or from the back, going around the outside of the walls.
It does look like one of the walls that's up against the mountain is kind of collapsed up against it, so you could probably squeeze in there towards the back side of the temple city where there is a lot less activity. You could get to the temple, but the entrance is in the front where the largest group of undead are.
Norbit, do you feel like doing some climbing?
I've got nothing better to do. You know, it's a good stretch. It's a lovely day. Maybe I'll get to blow something up when we get there.
Meet me at the temple door.
You got it.
Quintley climbs down and he goes for the main entrance of the city. He's going to actually walk in.
Just walk straight in.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds like a great idea.
But he's also going to like pretend to be one of them as best he can. Like
Okay.
sort of like shamble in.
All right.
And
So
try to, if there are any other undead that are drifting from the crowd.
I kind of want to watch this. I don't think he's going
This
to
can
make
only
it.
go well.
Anybody around to take bets?
Like he's basically going to try to file in with the undead that are joining the city from the road.
okay.
Okay. So if he goes in and he gets torn to pieces, I get his stuff.
All right. Go ahead and roll
Right, you are.
your manipulation plus your plus your deception.
Deception.
Yeah, that's in skills under social.
I have social, animal ken, empathy, expression, intimidation, persuasion, socialized, streetwise, subterfuge.
Oh, subterfuge. Yep.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
Gotta get all sneaky about it.
Oh no.
So
Ugh.
you climb down and you start to get near the edge of the group, kind of letting your arms swing to the side and kind of shambling along. And you actually make it about halfway into the middle of the courtyard.
Good time for things to go wrong.
And one of the giant abominations of stitched together bodies carrying like this giant meat cleaver kind of like bumps into you, and you actually fall down on the ground. And as you do, some of the undead kind of turn their attention to you. It doesn't look like they are considering you prey yet, but they're kind of curious as to what you're doing, because you're not acting quite like all of them are.
Hey, if you gotta run out of town, run towards the edge of it so I can get your stuff.
You cold-hearted little green bastard.
So Quintley kind of like subtly shrugs off his coat and like tries to look as mussed up as possible and keeps going.
Oh man, that's got to be hard for him.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay,
The sacrifices that we
Where's
make.
the hat now? The coat.
go ahead and do your manipulation plus subterfuge again.
I missed that hat.
You can't have a tinfoil hat in every game you play.
Oh, nice.
Oh, but he can.
So it seems that the undead are not. You've done a good job of convincing them, and they're continuing to shamble along mindlessly, completely ignoring you.
That's right, I'm one of you, you tacky bastards.
All right, I guess he's not gonna get torn limb from limb. I guess I better climb my way over there.
Which way are you going?
Well, is there one that's marginally less suicidal?
Yeah, you guys did see a entrance kind of along the cliffside that goes up to the ruined temple, but you would kind of either have to climb up the ruins or go around into the horde of undead and up the steps.
I'll take my chances with the climbing.
All right, so go ahead and roll your dexterity plus your stealth.
Ooh, stealth. That is far less capable.
Pretty proud of your athletics.
Explosion devil. Being stealthy. Oh god. This should be red.
Nice.
Hey,
All right.
that's okay. I got a little sneak to me. Just a little. You know, it's all about getting to the right place. Then boom.
He's like merging. His green features are merging with the moss on the rocks. That's what's happening.
There you go. So you kind of
Hey,
like...
this is a glorious shade of emerald.
That's not stealth, that's being so ugly people don't want to look at it.
Hey, I'm right here.
So you kind of like
Not getting paid enough for this.
press yourself up against the wall like Emperor's New Groove style, and like slide along.
Archetypal stealth move.
Yeah. And you like
I'm humming my own theme music like da 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 da.
So the undead seem to think that your stealth music noise is like your an undead goblin's groan.
Meanwhile, Quintley is doing his best thriller walk.
So Noibit, you managed to get up to the ruins. You'll have to climb over the rubble, and it will be probably pretty difficult to climb and remain stealthy at the same time. But you can give it a shot if you want to.
I'll give it a go.
All right, so do your dexterity plus your athletics to see how the climbing itself goes.
I can do that.
And meanwhile, Quintley is to the steps.
Hey, look
of
at
the
that.
temple.
Look at that.
Oh, wow. 3 10s and an 8 and a 9.
Hey,
So,
Glorious goblin physique. Right here.
God, like my face is hurting from laughing.
so you easily climb up the rocks. You have goblins have these weird, unusually long ape arms, and
Hey.
tiny little feet. So you're
Hey,
like,
you know what they say about long arms?
so you manage to climb your way up, and you get to the top of the temple. Go ahead and roll your Dex plus Stealth again too to see if you are sneaky about it.
Okay, so maybe a little less finesse for the sneaking, but I gotta show off, right?
So at one
I
point,
gotta see this.
you do hear a rock fall that you accidentally loose, but the undead don't seem to even notice it. You get up to the top, and you see Quintley. Quintley, what are you doing down at the bottom of the steps?
So he's looking inside the temple.
The steps, there's quite a few.
Okay, so he will start climbing the steps.
Okay, so Quintley gets to the top of the steps, and you meet up with Noibit, and down below you can see the desiccated, rotting bodies of the undead kind of occasionally just bumping into each other, not really going anywhere, and just moaning and groaning. And in the distance, you see the horde of undead that was following Quintley getting closer and closer to the temple city.
You know, watching all these guys just kind of bumping into each other, it'd be kind of funny if it weren't so creepy.
I'm a little worried about getting out of here. Hopefully there's a back door.
Hey, if push comes to shove, bada bing, bada boom. Hey, we got this.
I'd rather not go that route, but we'll see what happens.
Hey.
All right, so in front of you guys is the large arced doorway of the temple city, of the temple itself. And like the walls of the outside, the temple is painted in blood, and there are shriveled up, hardened, dried organs hanging along its sides. Lots of intestines, almost like put up like garlands. And it's completely dark on the inside.
This sounds like my house at Halloween.
Okay, so for the record, this is disgusting. But I can appreciate the attempt to save money in the interior decorations. You know, work with what you got. That's what Ma used to say. Granted, she was normally a little bit more disappointed when she said it.
It's so unsubtle. It's like, oh yeah, look how gruesome we are. You know, I think I could do a little bit something more understated.
Yeah, you know, I can coy.
Quintley's judging the undead.
So he's looking around for any kind of anything that would seem magical or like a focal point in the temple.
And I'm just here for the ride.
All right, go ahead and do your intelligence plus your, or your wits plus your investigation.
Okay.
So I want to run an idea by you, right? I had this, well, we was talking about clothes last time we met. I had this idea, right? Decorative dynamite. What do you think?
Decorative dynamite.
Yeah, you know, like designer label dynamite.
So you want to wear red sticks on your clothes?
Hey, this is fashion we're talking about here.
Did you forget that you're the color of baby shit?
Hey, I don't tell you your ears are rotten off.
So Quintley, you don't see anything magical. You do notice that it looks like probably at one point this temple held a crystal atop it. The undead temples often do have focusing crystals for the purpose of focusing the Lich King's power, but it looks like that has been destroyed. So there are no signs of anything magical. It's pretty much just a ruin, and it's kind of a miracle that the doorway is even intact.
And is it just one big room?
You can see inside a little ways, and it looks like there is a large chamber in there, but you would have to go inside.
Okay. I'm going to kind of sneak over there as best he can in case there's anybody in there and check it out.
Okay, do your Dex plus Stealth.
So I guess I just need to wait over here.
You stay here and don't blow anything up.
I cannot make that promise.
So, Quintley, you are kind of trying to sneak your way into the temple, and you accidentally step on a skull, and it just...
Ugh.
And...
Quintley freezes.
Okay.
And
Roll.
he waits to see if anybody moves, and anything moves.
Roll your wits plus composure. So, the air is dead and still, and nothing seems to happen.
Okay, so Quintley moves towards the door and tries to sneak again.
Okay, go ahead and roll it again. Alright, so you make your way in, and you see that the floor is pretty littered with bones and corpses. It looks like there was probably a big battle in here. There's a couple of headless corpses and corpses that have been totally torn apart to the point that they can't be resurrected as undead. Lots of horde soldiers. And you come into the central chamber, the inner chamber of the temple, and it's one giant room, completely empty except for a tiny altar in the very center of it with large spines coming up around its side and meeting at the center. At the very far end of the room, the wall is actually crumbled and torn away, and it looks like it leads into either a natural or a carved cavern into the mountainside.
All right. He's going to go back to where Noibet is.
Hey, what'd you find? Aside from whatever that crunching noise was.
Well, there's an altar, and behind it is some kind of cavern.
Is it like the we need to blow it up kind of cavern, or is it like the more boring kind of cavern?
It might be similar to what we were in before, actually.
Well, I'm feeling especially suicidal today. How about you?
I think we should press on.
I concur.
All right. So as
They
you...
probably move toward the room, and Quintley definitely wants to check out the altar and see if he can see anything through the spines.
Okay, so you keep giving me a hard time about the whole thing, but you gotta admit, the spines, they might be a bit much. It's like you're gonna break on it. You're gonna trip, it's gonna break, it's terrible.
I'm not going to climb on them. I'm just going to look at them.
It's just saying, it might be a little bit much.
Roll your
This is
wits
all a little
plus-
bit much.
your wits plus your investigation as you look at the spines.
Okay.
So I guess I'm going to look around for anything looting worthy.
All right, go ahead and roll your wits plus investigation plus your +1 for looking for loot.
Yes.
So as Quintley looks at the spined altar, there is enough space in between the spines that you can see inside, and the altar face itself appears to be empty. There's nothing on it. It is of Scourge design though, so it's very likely that this was some kind of altar to the Lich King or one of his higher ups. Noibit, as you are looking around, You dig through some of the pockets of the dismembered bodies of the Horde soldiers, and you find 32 gold and a bow that looks like it's of Tauren make.
Hey, what's this? It's like a piece of stick with some string through it. What am I, a caveman? I'll take the gold. And you know what? On second thought, I'm having one of those moments where I think, hey, maybe I'll need this later if I'm real desperate like. Real desperate like. I'll bring it with me.
All right. So you all right, so you find that Quintley, the altar doesn't look like it has too much on it, and the open cavern before you is pretty much the only other thing of interest in the room as far as you guys can tell.
So Norbert, take a look at this cavern. Does it look like it was blown open, or does it look like it might have been dug open from the other side?
Give me a moment. There's some very definitive marks you can tell between an explosion, well, a good explosion, a bad explosion, and digging. There's like leagues of differences in quality. It's the minutia of the thing.
All right, so go ahead and roll your intelligence plus your science, and I think you have a +1 for explosions too.
I do. Hey, look at that.
So you can definitely tell that it was dug. You're not sure exactly what dug it up, but there are no explosion marks, and there are lots of thin, long slashes that seem to be what carved out the tunnel. And it goes down and it curves around a corner into the darkness.
Okay, so first off, this has got to be the most boring tunnel I have ever seen. Second off, is very clearly dug by somebody. I'm going to assume, given the proximity, probably undead. And they didn't even bother making the tunnel straight. I mean, come on. That's like elementary school, or like, you know, like what they teach you on the assembly line when you don't get to go to elementary school.
Quintley rolls his eyes and keeps a finger on one of his eyeballs so it doesn't pop out like it usually does when he does that.
Hey, don't give me that.
Do you think it might be those spider folk again?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to eliminate it as a possibility. I ain't been stabbed by one of them in the last 5 minutes, so I'm inclined to think probably not. But who knows?
Perhaps someone came in, or perhaps it was one of the armies that came in here and maybe used something to dig for them, attacked, and then left us with this.
I know my digging machines. This was probably not a digging machine. This was probably done by something, not a machine.
Can you tell how long ago?
I could try, I guess.
It looks pretty fresh to you, actually.
Actually, judging by this sediment deposit right over here and how it hasn't quite solidified, I'm going to go with this is actually kind of a recent digging. And this will probably be a stalagmite, which is not good planning, by the way, just for the record.
Right. I think whatever is controlling all of these undead is down here.
Is something controlling them? Because I thought they was just kind of bumping into each other, you know, like boing.
But they're drawn to this place. Didn't you see it?
Not really. I was kind of busy trying to not die.
Well, I ran into a group on the road, just as mindless as these, and they were headed this way, and several of them broke off to join these ones. I think something's going on. Some kind of power is controlling them.
And where there's power, there's money. I like how you think.
Question is, do we want to investigate?
Ah, yes. Why would we not?
Quintley thinks it over and let's see. Agmar's hammer. I really need to see what's going on with the laser. All right, well, hopefully this won't take too long.
Hey, if push comes to shove, bada bing, bada boom. It's all over.
So Quintley sets foot into the tunnel.
All right, and now we will see what is happening across the land in Dragonblight. So Cassie and Trixie, your hearts pound in your ears as you come to a stop in the Lothalor woodland. Looking behind you, it seems the spear-throwing orc is gone. Blood seeps down your arm, Cassie. The sky has grown dark, but you see no stars through the thick clouds above. Shalani looks over and says, Trixie, bandage Cassandra's arm. We seem to have lost him.
Bleeding hair. Hurts.
Trixie is going to try and bandage up Cassie.
Excellent. Okay, so do your... didn't we decide on a roll for this? Because I always am not sure if we do intelligence or dexterity for healing, for bandaging.
Well, we do have a medicine category.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But-
mean, you would do one of those plus medicine. So I guess either one, which if you would rather do dexterity or intelligence, and then add your medicine. The old orc says, Alliance section, everyone nap. What a dick. Nice. Okay, so you are easily able to use one of your bandages to wrap up on Trixie's arm, or on Cassie's arm, and Cassie, you're no longer bleeding. As she tightens
Oh,
it.
that feels better. Feels a lot better. Still hurts, but better.
Around you, the birds and the creatures of the woods are becoming more active as the last dredges of day are happening, and Shalani looks closely at the both of you, and she seems rather distressed, which is unusual for her because being a Death Knight, she doesn't really have a whole lot of emotions to throw around. And she says, You said you met crazies.
Definitely how I would classify them.
Yeah, they do fall under the category of crazies.
Well, yes, they are throwing spears at us.
Just went on and on about an apocalypse and
Yeah.
the earth and the stones. They didn't know what they were talking about. Or, you know what I'm talking about. And it's kind of a gamble.
I found something in the boat. So Shalani sits down on a stump and she looks at the both of you. You've come to a clearing in the woods, a small clearing. And she says, I found something in the boat. It was... I believe it was an altar to the old gods. I believe that these people are worshippers of the gods that were banished beneath Azeroth.
Old gods.
Yes, they were ancient entities that have great powers and were put to sleep for many, many, countless millennia. But I have heard whispers that they are coming back. That even in their sleep they can control the minds of mortals, such as the people we saw at Moaki Harbor.
Well, that doesn't sound good.
So, as military, can't you just arrest these people?
Yes, I believe that is a good idea, but there are many more of them than there are of us.
Well, I really don't know what to do. Maybe we should just go back to Star's Rest and report what we saw.
I think we should get away from them for now until we can figure out how to deal with them at least. And my shoulder probably needs more rest before we try and arrest someone.
So, as you guys are sitting there talking about this, both of you roll your wits plus composure. Oh, wow.
At least one of us has our stuff together.
Give me a second. I'll roll this one as well. There we go.
Alright. So, Cassie, as you guys are sitting there in the silent woods, you hear the unmistakable sound of a footstep in the snow, and nobody else seems to notice.
Guys, I don't mean to alarm you, but there's something coming. Definitely something coming.
Consider me alarmed. Where is it coming from?
The woods. I could hear footsteps in the snow.
And then, Cassie, you see a figure moving towards you, leaning up against trees as the figure comes closer.
So Cassie draws her weapons, or her arrow, basically, and trains it on the person.
As she does...
Who goes there?
He comes up and you see that it is the human man from the Tuskar village, who was part of the group of people on the ships. And he holds up his hands and comes out into the open. He is wearing his same thick clothes that he was wearing before, and has a bald head and his big bushy beard. And he says, "Wait!"
Are you following us? Why are you following us?
I came to apologize. I think there was a misunderstanding.
Yeah, the misunderstanding went right through my shoulder as I was thrown a spear at.
Oh,
Give me one good reason why I shouldn't shoot you right now.
I am very, very sorry. Please, the orc, you see, Lurund, he has problems. He is unstable at times, but please do not judge my entire people for his actions. I know you think us strange. I do. And he takes a couple of steps forward.
That might be an understatement.
Yes, I realize that we probably sound crazy. I do, but you must understand that our shamans are indeed connected to this world, and there is something terrible coming, and we only wish for peace.
Tell that to your orc friend.
Trixie wants to take a look around and make sure that he's not a distraction from something worse.
Okay, go ahead and roll your wits plus composure.
Oh dear.
You do not see anything in the woods.
Surprise, surprise.
He says, the orc, he saw your Draenei friend running and thought that perhaps she had stolen something. He did not know.
So why was he aiming for me?
I cannot speak for him. I sent him back to the village, and I scolded him firmly.
Something
What do you
tells
guys
me.
think?
Something tells me the people that you're claiming are shamans are not exactly the nature-loving people you think.
I know them well. They are trustworthy people. It has been very difficult for us. I'm sorry. We have gone through many rough times. We are outcasts, most of us, due to our beliefs. But we have only come here, as I said, to establish a place where we can live in peace. And I would hope that we could have peace with the Alliance.
I don't know much about these old gods that Shalani was talking about, but they don't sound good to me. What about you, Trixie?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that they are not friendly at all.
His eyes go wide as you mention old gods. And he says, that is one name for them. And Shalani
Yeah, I'm
just
pretty
goes,
sure the other names aren't very good either.
They... Please, I do not... I know how worshippers of the old ones are treated, and we do not want any trouble from your alliance. Please do not tell what you saw.
And what if we do tell?
Your commanders will assuredly come and try to wipe us out. They would kill us.
That is pretty accurate.
Yes, you see, we are not the people who have been associated with the old ones in the past. I know there have been troubles with cultists and the like, but we are not a cult. We are a village to be. We only wish for safety.
Alright, we
from
won't tell on one condition.
What condition?
Why are you really here?
He looks pretty anxious, and he takes another step forward, and he's about 5 feet away from you now.
Back up.
He holds
No
up his
closer.
hands really quickly when you say back up, and takes another step back, and he says, yes, of course. It is the truth. We are here to be safe from the coming disasters, of which there are many, and I would warn you and your people as well that you must beware.
What a vague answer. One that you people seem to be full of.
It is vague because the visions of the shamans are vague. We do not know exactly what will happen. Gendry believes that Azeroth itself will shake itself apart. Others believe that the spirits will come back to haunt us. Others yet have even wilder theories. We do not know for certain, but we know that it is coming, and we only wish to be safe.
So Cassie looks to Shalani and asks, what do you think?
I think that I do not trust them, and I think that he should leave.
You heard her.
The man looks over at Trixie with pleading eyes.
Where exactly are you wanting to settle down? This isn't exactly excellent real estate area.
There is a network of caves. It is north of here.
Caves? You
yeah.
want to go live underground? And you're not a cult?
Well, we want to be safe.
You think the world's going to be tearing itself apart and you want to go live underground? You're not making any sense.
Our patron has assured us that there are our magics in place to protect the caves, to keep them stable.
Your patron?
A friend of ours, yes, who is here in Northrend waiting for us. I mentioned him before.
What's his name?
He has not told us his name, but he and I have been in correspondence for over a year.
Have you ever met him?
No, he lives in isolation up here in Dragonblight.
Have you never heard of
Because
stranger
you've been
danger?
catfished. No, just kidding.
It's actually a she.
I'm sorry.
No, but his Facebook profile picture is gorgeous. He says he starts to look as if he's starting to look as if he actually is doubting himself a little bit through the course of this conversation. And he says, "No, I have not, but he speaks our language. He understands the elements as we do, and even though we had not met before the shaman's visions began, he also has had visions of this future, and so we feel we must go and connect with him."
How exactly are you communicating with this guy? You just pen pals? Are you writing letters?
Yes, he brings the letters down to Agmar's hammer, and they get sent down to the Eastern Kingdoms where we come from.
Right.
I don't know about this. This guy sounds super shady.
I suppose it is possible that he is untrustworthy, but we have nowhere else to go. As you said, this land is quite inhospitable, and he promises protection from whatever is coming.
Where exactly is he leading you to?
He said that his caves are near the Wrathgate, to the north of here.
Since they have actually been around this area some, would they have an idea of where he's talking about?
Yeah, you would have a basic idea of the area. I'll post up a map here. You know that the skeleton of the ancient dragon Galkarond is in that area. You know that the dragons who reside in central Dragonblight are often flying around that area. But other than that, it's pretty much Agmar's hammer and horde patrols.
Okay, so we don't know about them all yet.
You do know that there is an area where black dragons are known to spend time in the mountains in that area.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because I know, but Trixie probably
You want to
doesn't,
metagame
so.
it.
I don't know about this. There is nobody here that's sane enough to live here. I mean, obviously other than us, but that's kind of our job.
Exactly, yes, you are here because of a cause that you believe in. That is why we are here too. We wish to reunite with nature. And where is nature stronger but here?
But when you say reunite with nature, what if... Am I the only one that's thinking sacrifice?
Heavens, no. We would never sacrifice any of our people or anyone else's.
What
Well-
about the stranger that you've been corresponding with? What's stopping him from, like, just being this crazy person that wants to sacrifice you all?
If he sighs heavily and he looks down and kind of throws out his hands in defeat and he says, if he is crazy, as you say, I fear there is nowhere left for us to go. We know
So she looks to
as much as you do.
Shalani and says, "What about recruiting them for the Alliance instead?"
Shalani kind of, her eyebrows raise a little bit and she shrugs a little bit and says, "There are crazier people in the Alliance."
I mean, surely it has to be better than them being sacrificed to some unknown old gods by some stranger, promising them to be one with nature. It sounds very suspicious to me.
The bearded man says, we do not wish to fight in the pointless war between the Alliance and the Horde. We truly, nobody is telling us to connect to nature. That has always been our goal. This contact of ours, our patron who will be hosting us, has not convinced us of anything but that we can come and settle in his caves.
Maybe we should just go to this cave and check it out. Yeah, they're crazy, but they might be getting into something that's way too deep for them.
Yeah, I'd feel bad if we just sent a bunch of them. Like, they're clearly being coerced by something. Nobody would act that strange or crazy out of nothing. Right?
I just don't trust anybody who's here by their own choice.
Yeah.
So can they do a vote to investigate this situation?
Let's see
Shalani
what Shalani says.
looks at the two of you and she says, if that is what you want to do, then I am with you.
Right? Let's do it.
The
Should we
man
bring more people?
the man says, by the way, my name is Davlin.
Well, I would say it's nice to meet you, but that's yet to be seen. You just go back to live with Tuskar for a little bit. Tell us where we need to go, and we'll go take care of it.
May I see your map?
Only if you use my pencil to mark it.
Trixie will get out a map that I would assume that she would get.
Yeah. He takes the map and he takes your
Gotta
pen
help her if she doesn't.
and he marks a little X just south of the Wrath Gate and hands it back to you. And he says, that is where we are to go. If you do see our patron, please tell him that we are coming, and please do not upset him. This is the last hope for our people.
Yeah, we don't exactly have a good history with the Wrathgate, so we'll do our best. No promises.
Can we patch me up first? Properly?
You're patched up pretty good. You'll be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
So Shalani stands up without another word and starts heading north.
I guess we follow her.
Hope for the best.
And the man turns and walks away with a sigh. And as you're walking through the woods, it's very quiet, but for the breeze, the occasional sound of birds, you see the sky is growing darker, and Shalani says, what was that you were saying about more people, Cassie?
Well, if we're going to look through some suspicious caves, which we have no clue what is in, surely bringing some reinforcements may be an idea. Or maybe sending in a more, experienced scout.
What do you think, Trixie?
Well, if the Sentinels at Star's Rest are willing to help and contribute a few people, that would be great, but they're really determined to stay there and hold the line against Agmar's hammer. I would think that they could spare a few people, maybe.
Well, at least one. It's better than none, right?
Especially if we can get an elf.
Oh yeah, we like those. They can do fancy things.
She says, well then perhaps we should go report back before we investigate this.
Good idea, Commander.
Alright, so you guys start heading back towards Star's Rest, and we are going to take our halfway point break here. And we are going to continue listening to this track by Tabletop Audio, which is The Winter Woods. So we'll see you guys here in about 5 minutes. Alrighty, and we are back. So we are going to go to our horde friends. Quintley and Noibit, you two have entered the tunnel and are going down into the cavern. It turns around a corner and you see up ahead it continues to go lower and opens up into what looks like another chamber that seems to, you can't tell too well in the darkness, but it looks as if it was perhaps handmade, constructed out of stone.
Well, clearly whoever worked on this had no appreciation for the finer things in life.
Let me guess, you disapprove of the stonework as well?
Yes, I thought that I had made that clear.
Do you think this is another one of those temples?
I mean, it could be. We did pass an altar earlier.
Quintley is going to stalk forward and feel along the wall and try to be as quiet as possible. And he's also going to pull out his pocket watch in case anything happens.
Okay, go ahead and roll your Dex plus Stealth. Alright, so Quintley sneaks along the wall and the cavern opens up into a large square chamber. There are curving bronze gilding along the blue walls, and you see spiderweb designs and other highly detailed geometric patterns of curving triangles. There's 2 hallways to the left and the right through octagonal doorways, and they have spindly lines of bronze around them. The chamber's empty, but for some rubble on the ground, and you see a tall pillar at the back.
Quintley is going to make for the pillar.
Alright, so as you get closer to the pillar, you see that it is some kind of monolith. There are 8 arms at the top of it, and they're clutching a small glowing purple crystal. And this is an image to give you a basic idea of what it looks like. Go ahead and roll your wits plus composure. So it looks like a...
So witty and composed.
It's a strange room with a strange feel to it, but that's about all that you can tell.
So
Is
usually
it safe for me to come in?
Go ahead, come in.
All right, excellent.
And Quintley keeps his voice fairly low and waits until Noibit is close by to speak to him about the room. So usually, there's some kind of focal stone that this scourge keeps around. Now this looks like a statue to the old gods, if you ask me.
Seems creepy enough.
Should we try to remove that thing?
Oh, you are speaking my language.
delicately, Noiby.
Oh,
The crystal is about 30 feet up near the top of the pillar. Just so you
so what am I supposed to like pry it out or something?
Let me think about this.
Indiana Jones. Switch it with something.
You got any like bags of sand or something in case it's pressure sensitive?
How big is the gem?
The gem looks pretty small, like fist-sized.
Yeah, so like maybe like a good bag of sand about this big.
Like, would 2 centipedes be able to move it?
It's possible.
Okay.
Oh my god, yes. Minion.
First, we'll need to figure out if there are any traps on this thing. And, we want to stand back for this. And Quintley pulls out a dagger and kind of motions for Noibit to get back toward the...
Oh yes, oh yes. I want a good view.
And once Quintley is as far away as he can be and still have a good shot at throwing the dagger at the gem, he does so.
All right, throw your dexterity plus your weaponry at it. So the dagger flies up and bounces off one of the arms of the statue and clatters onto the ground in a pile of rubble.
Okay, he's going to throw his other dagger.
All right.
It's that wind working against you, isn't it? All that underground wind.
I'm trying to concentrate here.
Right.
There we go.
All right, so the dagger hits the stone, and the stone goes bouncing against the back of the pillar and then hits down on the ground. And as it does, it's smashed, and a light purple haze starts to come out of it.
Okay, I don't know about you, but that looks like a dangerous shade of purple.
We've seen this before, Noiby. Do you remember?
Yeah, I'm remembering. Also, I would like to add, I'm noticing now I'm thinking about it, right? Spider patterns on the wall equals spider patterns of us getting stabbed.
I don't see any spiders around yet.
Just saying, it's suspicious, all right? Pay attention.
There
So
goes another hat.
Quintley is going to try... Does it look like he could recover his daggers without ending up in the purple haze?
Yeah, the purple haze is kind of concentrated around the shattered stone right now. It's slowly moving out, but it would be no problem for him to grab his daggers.
Purple haze.
He's going to collect his daggers and carefully watch what the haze is doing.
So it just kind of slowly expands out, and it's lifting up into the tall chamber ceiling, and eventually it just...
I don't like that stuff. I don't know. I got an idea about it. It seems bad.
Really?
Yes.
All of your powers of perception, you think...
And
Now, what happened when we saw the haze before? I'm having trouble remembering.
Yeah. All right. So we had that purple haze, right? And this was after the spiders showed up. And I shot all those spiders. Just want that on the record. So after the spiders, and then there was the purple haze, and then we saw that guy with the thing with the talking in the mind. And that wasn't good. Did not like that. And then we blew up a tunnel. I liked that. That was good. We should do that again.
So perhaps this haze represents some kind of power that's connected to all of those unfortunate souls above.
Makes sense. It's kind of like when smoke is coming out of a fuse. It's connected to the power in the TNT.
a good... That's not a bad analogy, Noiby. I quite like that. Now, perhaps it seems like the haze is going upward.
Okay.
Is there something up there that we could follow it? Or do you think it's going up to the fortress?
Well, there's undead up in the fortress, right?
Fairly sure of that, yes.
Okay, so it could be like affecting the undead or something.
Right. So perhaps let's go up and see what happens.
Hey, we got nothing to lose.
So, as you guys are talking about this, the haze continues to lift up, and it looks like it's actually dissipating.
Quintley's gonna look around the room for anything else of interest, anything that might be hidden in the rubble as well.
Okay, go ahead and
I'm not
roll-
going to play the loot the room card too many times, so I'll let that sit for now.
Go ahead and roll your wits plus investigation. So as you're looking around the room, you kind of dig through the rubble a little bit, and you feel on the pillar a little bit, and it seems that you've seen everything there is to see here.
No other doors or anything that he would see.
There are the two doorways. You have two doorways, one to the left and one to the right.
Okay. Quintley's going to go toward the left doorway, and he's going to listen at the crack of the door.
Okay, go ahead and do wits plus composure. And the door, it's an open doorway, so...
Oh, okay. So he's just going to kind of go to the edge and listen to him, like, through it.
Okay.
Wits plus composure.
While he's doing that, I'm going to go and scratch at some of this brass filigree to make sure it's actually brass and not some sort of plating like I've seen before.
All right. Roll your intelligence plus your science. Quintley, as you are listening carefully, it doesn't sound like there's movement, but you do hear an occasional as if something is dropping.
Sorry, you cut out on the right after the word occasional.
You're hearing like an occasional dripping, like a thick, heavy dripping sound, like.
That's ominous. And Quintley stalks over to the other side of the room and listens at the other door.
Okay, go ahead and do wits plus composure. Noibit, as you scratch at the filigree, it does appear to be real bronze. You're not able to scratch very much off, but it doesn't seem to flake off like you would expect if it was fake.
You see, this is what I get for keeping my fingernails trimmed.
Quintley, at the other door, all you hear is kind of the sound of wind, or of air shifting around in the tunnels, but that's about it.
Okay, so Quintley's going to try to stealth toward the sound of the dripping to find out what it is.
Okay, go ahead and roll your dex plus stealth.
Why is this guy doing all this sneaking around? I don't even understand. There's nobody in here.
All right, so you sneak.
Tell it.
Oh, there it is.
Ooh.
So you sneak through the left doorway that the dripping sound is coming from, and you see that there is a fairly long chamber, but at the end of it, there's another open doorway, and you can see a bunch of rubble in another room, and a collapsed pillar. But that's all that you can make out from the corridor between the room that Noibit's in and the room that the dripping sound is coming from.
Does the pillar look anything like the monolith in the first room?
It's not exactly like the monolith. It's like similar architecture. You can tell it's from the same culture, but it does not have quite the presence that the monolith has.
Okay. So Quintley's going to look around in this corridor and see if he can find anything. He's basically going to try to check for traps.
Okay. All right.
Best he can.
So do your wits plus your investigation. Alright, so you don't seem to find any sort of traps or anything unusual in the corridor itself or the entrance into the new room.
Okay, so he's going to take a look around the new room.
Okay, do another wits plus investigation roll. And as you come into it, you see that the fallen column looks like it's actually covering another entry or another corridor, and it's blocking it except for like a little slit at the top. And as you're kind of examining this, you notice that there is a long, spindly, purplish leg coming out from under the column. And you notice it because
Like moving, or like it's just
like it's like
squashed?
crushed, yeah. And as you see it, it kind of twitches, and that's the reason you see it. Then some of the rubble falls off from on top of it as it twitches.
Okay. So he's going to try to quietly move over to the slit and look through.
So the column is very, very wide, and you would have to kind of try to climb up it to be able to see through the slit. It's covering the whole bottom part of the doorway, and it's also very rounded and smooth.
He puts his watch in a place that's handy, and he tries to climb up.
Okay, let's do your dexterity plus your athletics.
I want to go take a look at that other room.
Okay. Alright, so Quintley, you managed to climb up the pillar. It is very round and smooth, but the fall, whatever caused it, has made a bunch of cracks in it, and you're able to slip your undead claws into there and climb up. And as you look through, you see a rising hallway on the other side of the pillar, and it looks slick with some kind of ooze, some kind of greenish ichor, and is very steep.
Watch your hat.
Hey, if he doesn't want it, I'll take it.
Okay, so Quintley climbs down and keeps an eye on the twitching leg and heads back to catch up with Noibit wherever he is, looks for him in the next room.
Alright, so Noibit, do you just waltz down the hallway, or are you trying to...
Yeah, why not?
Alright, so you waltz down the hallway. Go ahead and roll your wits plus composure.
Bastard.
Yeah, I can do that. I got wits and I got composure. Just not a whole bunch of both. Hey, that was okay. I could have done worse.
Oops. Alright, so you come into the corridor, and there doesn't seem to be anything of significance in it, and you come through to a room that is... it's a square room, it's pretty simple, and you see there is a tiny, strange-looking egg sack in one corner of the room. It looks like it has some kind of wire framework around it and a lock at the very top of the egg.
Okay, that is disgusting, and I feel a burning compulsion to light this thing on fire. I am hoping a certain undead might convince me that's a bad idea.
Has Quintley found where Norbit is yet?
Nope, Quintley is still in the other room.
Okay.
Okay, so what would be my best method for lighting this thing on fire? Let's see what I got. Let's see what I got. I got a pack here. We'll dig through it. Okay, I got some dynamite. Okay, I got a Sephorium charge. I got some landmines. That wouldn't be good here. Gotta have somebody stepping on a landmine. I don't want to set up the moida. That's a little bit too much work. Too much work for this. Maybe the dynamite. The dynamite would work here. I don't know. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad of an idea would it be to blow this thing up? Do I know what this is? Do I have any suspicions or anything?
You saw similar organic-looking objects back in Ice Crown when you encountered Nerubians up there.
Oh, that was the thing that filled me full of all those dots.
Nope, it's a little bit different. You saw like egg sacs, and this looks similar to those egg sacs. If you use the dynamite, you know from your experience that it would blow up the whole room, but it probably wouldn't collapse the walls themselves.
Okay, note to self, personal note. Bring some sort of accelerant and a lighter. That's gotta be added to the inventory.
You do have your bada boom stick.
I do have my bada boom stick. How would I forget about the bada boom stick? Okay, we're gonna shoot it.
All right. So are you like shooting it point blank? Are you standing back?
You know what? I feel like I need to practice my marksmanship. I don't really get a good chance to do it, you know, on account of the fact that I'm so busy being such a good and competent demolitions exploit.
All right, so go ahead and roll your dexterity plus your firearms plus.
Yeah.
I think you have maybe +1 for your. Or what's your? I think you get a
Dex.
bonus for your boomstick roll.
Dex plus archery. No, I don't have a bada boom stick bonus yet. I'm contemplating it, but not right now. Oh, wow. That was a disgusting roll.
All right, so the bada boomstick explodes in a blast of black powder and hits the egg sac in the wireframe, and the wireframe shatters, and the egg sac explodes with a and across the room.
That was satisfyingly disgusting. For the record.
And you see from inside of it, there are some gold coins, some of which have been destroyed by the blast. And
it happens.
it looks like there's some sort of organ. A couple of weird organs in there too.
Okay. That might have pushed the threshold from awesomely disgusting to, oh, that is just too disgusting. That is a very disgusting thing.
Quintley, as you're heading towards Noibit, you hear a loud that echoes through the hallways, coming from the right doorway.
Fucking Titans. And Quintley waits to see if the tunnel remains stable.
It looks like it is stable.
Hey, I'm good at my job, all right?
Does he see Norbit yet?
Yeah, as you're coming down the corridor, you see Noibit standing there with his bada boom stick.
That is absolutely disgusting. Do you see this, Quintley? It's full of organs. Who stuffed some sort of pod full of organs?
What are you doing?
Look at the thing. It was locked. It was surrounded by a cage. It's disgusting. I had to get rid of it. All right. It's for our own well-being.
Quintley steps over and tries to look at the organs to try to identify what they are.
Okay, Quintley, do a wits plus composure roll, first off. And then also do an intelligence plus investigation roll. So as you are approaching the egg sack thing, splattered across the floor, something
The big
catches
sack
your
is
eye.
disgusting.
You look up, and what you think is at first just part of the architecture actually turns out to be a three-dimensional figure standing on the ceiling upside down. And you see its many
Quinley
limbs.
backs the fuck up.
Hey, why are you backing up? Oh.
It doesn't quite move yet as you start to back up. It doesn't look like it realizes that you've noticed it.
It's time to reload.
Stay quiet. And Quintley just tries to casually walk the other way back toward where they came until he gets to the door of this room.
Okay, go ahead and roll your manipulation plus your subterfuge.
No more of those things.
Alright, so Quintley casually makes his way to the door. What's Noibit doing?
So I'm seeing this undead figure trying to slink out of a room, right? And he's looking up at the ceiling, and I'm like, okay, something's up. I should probably follow this guy. But I'm probably not quite as good at the whole being subtle thing. So I'm just gonna follow him while I'm reloading my gun.
Alright, so you follow him while you're reloading your weapon, and the two of you make it back into the chamber with the large monolith pillar, and it doesn't seem to have followed
So-
you.
Quintley is trying to stay as subtly as he can within eyeshot of the spider, the Nerubian on the ceiling.
Okay.
And can he make out any other figures up there?
It looks like there is just the one, and it's not moving at all. It's perfectly still, and the only reason he could even tell that it was up there is because it's three-dimensional.
Right. So maybe there may be more of these things.
Well, yeah, it looks like they were trying to reproduce or something.
I have a feeling we might get to whatever's on the other side of this tunnel if we go the other way. And there are things for you to blow up over there.
Oh my gosh. That is the hottest thing you've ever said. Let's do it.
So Quintley leads him toward the room with the fallen pillar and the rubble blocking the door.
Alright, you guys easily get there, no problem. And Noibit,
And
you
we're
see-
gonna easily blow it up, no problem.
Yep, you see that there is another tunnel that is blocked by a fallen pillar.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a boom are we talking here?
As small a boom as you can possibly muster, and then smaller than that.
Oh, you wound me, sir.
Just make a hole big enough for us to get through.
Well, okay, to be fair, a hole for me and a hole for you are two entirely different holes.
You see that slot right there? Just try and make that a little bigger.
Oh, fine. Okay, I think just a little bit of the easy throw will do this one okay.
And Quintley is looking at the Nerubian that is under the pillars, the leg still twitching.
Oh, hey, look at that. We might need that in case it's got another one of those door things, you remember?
Right.
We had to stick all the TNT into it on account of it was designed to have, like, the leg thingies go into it.
Does Quintley know anything about Nerubian society? Like, are they particularly smart, and could we communicate with them?
Go ahead and roll your intelligence plus composure to see what Quintley recalls about them. Nerubians are not a society that people know a whole lot about generally. But he does remember hearing that in Dragonblight, actually, the Nerubians allied with the Horde and the Alliance against other Nerubians who were worshipping old gods. So it's very possible that they can be communicated with. And apparently all of this architecture is actually created by Nerubians themselves.
Right. All right. So, while Noibit is setting up his explosives, Quintley is going over to the Nerubian that is under the rubble and trying to see how badly it is hurt, while keeping his distance.
Okay, so he sees that it looks like it was crushed by the pillar itself.
Okay.
And it's a very heavy pillar.
So it's like,
yeah.
so it's pretty much like a dead bug that's twitching.
Yep, pretty much. And it has actually stopped twitching at this point.
Okay. I'm going to search its body for anything useful.
Okay. The only part that you can really access is like the one leg that's sticking out pretty far and one other leg that's like halfway sticking out. Neither of which seem to have anything useful on them unless you want a spider leg.
Oh, we want a spider leg.
I've got my cane for that. I think we'll be fine. So
Noibit is a
he's gonna leave
hoarder
it alone.
confirmed.
And he's going to move into the next corridor and wait for the explosion to happen.
All right, are you ready? I'm going to give us a countdown.
Ready as I can be.
All right. So on a count of 5. 1, 2, 3, and then it would go off.
So, where is Noibit standing?
He's a good ways away.
Okay.
It probably went off a little earlier than he was expecting, but
That's
be okay.
common.
All right, so the explosion blasts out and a wave of dirt comes blowing at Noibit and down the tunnel at Quintley, and as it slowly starts to settle, you see that there is a large crack and big gap in the pillar now that you guys can easily squeeze through. The whole area shakes and trembles and rocks fall down when the explosion blows, and it seems that if there was anybody around, they definitely would know about that.
Quintley, have I ever told you I love my job?
Quintley is just scowling and brushing dirt off of his jacket. And he kind of waits and tries to listen if there's any movement beyond or anywhere else around in the area.
Okay, roll your wits plus composure.
Sorry, you cut out. Was it what in composure?
Wits and composure.
All right.
So he does hear a very light sound as it's really hard for him to tell what it is. It's just kind of like a p, and that's it.
All right, and assuming that the dust has cleared in the tunnel beyond, he sees that there's a lot of that kind of like sticky stuff on the floor. Is that right?
Yep. It's a very steep corridor with lots of sticky stuff on the floor.
Interesting. Does it look like there's a path through the sticky stuff or any handholds that would help him get up?
There are some cracks in the side of the wall. The ichor is more on the floor.
Okay. He's going to take a look at the cracks and see if they resemble other Nerubian traps that he encountered in the previous tunnel.
Okay, roll your intelligence plus your composure. They just look like cracks. Nothing special.
Okay, I actually forgot to roll one die, so
Oh.
I'm gonna do that right now.
Yeah.
Nope.
Not that it helped.
Okay. He's going to start trying to climb up.
All right, dexterity plus
Using-
Hey,
athletics.
Using the cracks as handholds.
Okay.
It's a good idea. You don't want to get your clothes all sticky.
So as Quintley makes his way up the tunnel, it looks like the ichor is actually not sticky at all, but very slick. And he has a hard time keeping his feet stable, but you are able to get about halfway up the tunnel by clinging to the sides of the walls.
Okay, are there any other cracks on the wall leading up the rest of the way, or any other handholds?
Yeah, it looks like you could probably manage to keep kind of sticking your claws into the cracks and making your way up.
Alright, he's gonna try it again. Should I roll?
Yep, go ahead and roll again. So he makes it about 3/4 of the way up when suddenly you slip on the ichor and just kind of barely manage to grab onto the side before you slide all the way down.
Hey, be careful up there, Quentley.
How do these spiders manage this anyway?
Well, they got like 8 legs.
I see. What else is around here that I can try to hold on to?
Your cane.
So he pulls out his cane and he tries to see if he can lodge that between a crack on one wall and the facing wall.
Okay. So he's easily able to do that. So you can do that same roll again, but give yourself a +1 for the cane. Nice. Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Lots of 10s.
Points out canes are helpful for walking when you're having walking difficulties.
So Quintley is able, using the cane, to scramble up to the top. And you come into a circular room that has it has an open side on one end, and you can see that there is a slide, also slick with ichor, that leads down into a large chamber that has a much, much bigger purple crystal in it that looks like it is a very important chamber. It's pentagonally shaped and is at the bottom of the slide.
Does it look like there's anything overhead that would be dropped onto these slides?
As you look up, you see an open, the rock face is like split open in a crack, but it's dark up there, so you can't really tell.
Okay. And in the room ahead, the purple gem is like head-sized, would you say?
It's a little bit bigger than that, actually. It's quite large. So it's floating above a structure that looks similar to what I'm posting here. It's probably about the size of a carriage, and there are bone-like fingers reaching up from the pyramid base that the crystal is on. And it seems
So
to...
it looks like there's a looks like there's a pentagonal window or door in that structure. Is that also in the one that I'm seeing?
No, there's not actually a doorway in this structure. It looks pretty solid, but it's holding up this floating crystal that's kind of throbbing with eerie light. And we are going to go over to Dragonblight,
Okay.
where our friends in the Alliance are making their way back to Star's Rest. You're on the outskirts of Star's Rest. You go around Indule Village, which Trixie, you know from having basic experience in this area that is a haunted Tuskar village, and people don't want to go there. It's early morning by the time you're approaching Star's Rest, and as you do, you actually you come across one of the dryads, the strange creatures that seem to associate with the Night Elves. They have a deer-like body where a deer's head would be, though they have a woman's torso. And you're walking through the woods, and she kind of is just watching you from between the trees as you're approaching Star's Rest.
Well, at least they know that we're back now.
Yep. Those things look really fascinating to me. There's nothing like that around where I live. Lived. Yep, live.
They're not very talkative. Well, some of them aren't. Some of them are a little too talkative.
You know any of them?
There's one that keeps coming into my lab, and I keep having to shoo her out because I don't want to set her on fire.
I could
Not
imagine
to
one
say
of those
that I
things.
would set anybody on fire. My lab is completely safe. We're accident-free for at least... How long have we been gone?
You've been here for 2 weeks.
It's at least been accident-free as long as we've been in Walkie Harbor.
Well, that's... You're not in your lab, though.
I don't think that we need to point out any of these little details. Let's just get back here and tell them what we found out.
Let's do that.
Alright, so you guys arrive in Star's Rest, the Alliance outpost that's built into the ancient Highborn ruins. And as you approach, you see Commander Azure Steel, the Night Elf in charge of this area. Hurry, she notices you immediately as you come into the central area and hurries over to you while keeping very composed, as she always does. And she quickly asks, "Well, what did you see?"
Well, there's a bunch of crazy people. We're pretty sure they're a cult, but they swear they're not a cult. And they think that there's a guy up in some caves that wants to give them a home.
Yeah, and there's some old god shrines. Doesn't appear to be very good situation.
Slow down. Who are these, the settlers?
Yes.
Yep.
And you say they are a cult.
Yeah.
They say they're not a cult, but
They're definitely a
it's
cult.
definitely sending off that cult bulb.
Some of the people around Star's Rest have started to kind of gather around and are listening to the conversation. Commander Azure Steel pulls at the teal-colored hair in her ponytail and sighs and says, "This is just what we need." Very well, and you said old gods, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yep. Old god.
They say that
Bad
they're
thing.
shamans who are probably just worshippers of the old gods are predicting that the world's going to be torn apart.
They also said they wanted to stay at peace and didn't want anyone to bother them. Only after throwing a spear through my shoulder, of course, but they did apologize.
They attacked you and then apologized.
Well, one of them did.
Yeah, we're definitely getting some mixed messages.
I feel that it is best that we eliminate this threat before it becomes a greater problem.
Wait. We actually kind of discussed this in advance. We think that it might be a good idea to send a small team up to these caves because there's obviously someone up there that's contacted them. If we can take care of whoever's in the caves up there, and eliminate any threats there, these people might actually just be harmless.
And disperse all of their own, because they seem to only be here for that purpose.
She raises a long, pointed eyebrow at the two of you and says, "They're harmless, but they threw a spear at you."
Well, the orc did.
There's an orc?
Typical orcs. Spear happy. Just throwing them all over the place.
Tell me more. How many people are there? What are they like? What races are they?
Every race.
Yeah, they actually seem to cover quite a spectrum. There was a gnome and humans and orcs. Seems like they've basically come from all different walks of life.
And
Yeah, they said they came from all over.
How did this spear get thrown at you exactly?
Well, we were running.
Which was
After-
Shalani's order.
Yeah.
Shalani kind of like glares at Trixie. And Commander Azure Steel looks at Shalani and she says, You ordered them to run. And Shalani says, "Yes, I saw an altar to the old gods in one of their ships. I assumed that these people would be seeking our deaths or capture."
They fed me some fish.
Azure Steel looks over at you and says, "And are you experiencing any symptoms?"
I felt really nice, actually, after having it. Refreshed.
Cassie has an iron stomach, and it's apparently bottomless.
Well, Sentinel Amberline is out on another mission, but perhaps when she returns I will have her investigate the village itself further. Until then, perhaps it would be best for the three of you to go up and see what is in these caves and exactly who this person is.
Yeah, about that.
Can you spare somebody?
Yeah. You know, one of your fancy elf scouts or something. That would be nice.
She looks around at some of the people that are gathered around, and you see that the gathering is mostly males. What little the two of you do know of Night Elf society, it seems that the women are the military people and the males are the laborers. And it looks like there aren't too many women around. She says, most of my scouts are with Sentinel Amberline, but perhaps I can send someone with you.
Anything would help. We don't know what we're running into in those caves. And the last time we went into a cave, to be fair, it didn't go too well.
Cassie, go ahead and roll your presence plus your persuasion.
Me?
Yep.
Oh boy, I have none. I think. Wait, let me see. I have no persuasion, I think. Yeah. And what was the other one? Presence?
Yep, presence.
Okay. Alright. So do I get like a -1? So I just roll a d10 or something?
Yeah, if you're at -1.
Maybe I should have done it.
If you're at -1, you can just roll a d10. If you get a 1, it's a critical fail.
Yeah. Well, it's not critical fail.
She says, "Your problems previously are of no concern to me. The war was raging back then, I imagine. I am sure the three of you can handle it."
Right? We'll handle it. Won't we,
Fine,
Trixie?
fine. But I want to take some equipment from my lab.
By all means, SI7's matters are of no concern to me.
Alright, Trixie, head on over and get whatever you need. We should head out as quick as possible.
Trixie's going to go and quickly gather as
As-
much as she is able to carry.
Trixie starts to leave, and Shalani puts up a hoof and stops her. And
Oh.
she says, Commander Azulsteel, I have something that has been on my mind for a long time that I would like to talk about. And Commander Azulsteel kind of raises an eyebrow at her. If you recall, she wasn't too excited about having a Death Knight in her camp in the first place. And she says, yes, and what is that? And Shalani says, these old god worshippers, I know a little bit about them, and they have powerful magics. I worry that the undead who roam these woods could be brought under the sway of the old god worshippers. And I think that perhaps it would be better if I were to take control of them using the magic that has been infused into my body by the Lich King. I can control small groups of undead, and perhaps it would take that advantage from them before they have a chance to use it. And she kind of looks down at you two, kind of like asking for support in this request.
Cassie just looks away, doesn't say anything. Very uncomfortable with undead.
Well, it seems pretty dangerous, but I guess if we're there, it might be, might be useful. But at the same time, I don't think it's a good idea to control somebody who's already lost to this world.
No, I'm barely okay with you raising enemies in the heat of battle, but making it part of a plan, that's an abomination of nature, and I will not have it in Star's Rest. And Shalani looks at the two of you again and she says, Trixie, Cassie, you have seen what the hordes of undead can do when they are under control of somebody who has not good intentions. What if the altar that I saw had much magic and was very powerful? What if they used them against us?
Well, we could always just, get rid of them all in other ways instead of controlling them.
There are so many though.
So what you're saying is it would be easier for you to take control over them than put them out of their current status of being.
Yes, to slay all of the undead in Dragonblight would require an army that we do not have. But for me to take control of portions of them, I believe I could do so.
I don't know about this. We were just gonna go investigate the cave.
Azur still says, I believe that is the best course of action. Go prepare yourselves and you may leave when you are ready. That is your order.
You really should send some sentinels if you have them to spare to go watch those people, though. I don't like them being around the Tuskar like that.
Go ahead and roll your manipulation plus persuasion. Okay. She says, yes, I believe that is a good idea. When Amberline returns with her sentinels, I will send them to the village in Moaki Harbor immediately. In the meantime, prepare yourselves, go to these caves, do not take any action, but report back to me when you have discovered something.
Right away, ma'am.
So as soon as you are dismissed, you see Shalani turns quickly on her heels and heads off to the barracks tent without another word.
Do you think she's mad at us?
Yeah, I kind of feel bad. But I don't like the thought of being surrounded by more shambling corpses.
Yeah, the smell is
all.
awful.
And what they did the last time we worked with them, I'd rather not.
It's definitely something we want to keep in mind when we get there, though. We don't know what we're walking into.
Yeah, we'll be careful.
Okay, well, Trixie's gonna get some supplies and then they can head out.
All right. So Trixie, you head to your laboratory. What is Cassie doing?
Well, she's probably gonna see if she can find something to help her as well, like more arrows, for example.
Yeah, there are a couple of shops in Star's Rest with various things. So both of you go ahead and roll your wits. Well, actually, Cassie will have you roll your wits plus investigation.
Okay.
And Trixie, as you get to your laboratory, you see that it looks like it's been untouched since you last were there, which is good. You see some hoof marks in the snow around it. Go ahead and roll your wits plus investigation as well. Nice.
So many close calls.
So
Look at that.
Cassie, as you're looking around for somewhere to buy arrows, you easily spot an arrow trader. Looks like she has other supplies too. And you can see that from what she's wearing and just from her profession and kind of her general demeanor, it looks like she's maybe, you and her maybe have something in common. She seems to be something of a wilderness person as well. And she's currently sharpening a flint arrow with another piece of harder stone as you approach her.
Hello there.
She looks up. Hello. You're the one that Amberline told me about. You spotted her in the woods, didn't you?
I did. That's true.
That is very impressive, my little human. What's your name?
Cassie. I have to look him up.
Gresham.
Gresham.
She says, my name, you may call me White Willow. I am the boyer here.
Pleasure to meet you, White Willow. I can see you are a person of similar tastes as I.
Yes, indeed. Tell me, is there anything I can do for you?
I am looking for some arrows and perhaps something else. We're investigating some caves nearby and we're not entirely sure what we'll run into.
Ah, you have come to the right place. I have here, and she kind of digs around in her stuff, and then she pulls out a little vial. It's very elegantly designed, and it has some glowing blue water in it that you can only assume came from the glowing blue well at the center of this town. And she says, this will provide you with adequate light if you're exploring caverns.
That seems useful. How much do you sell your wares for?
I suppose I could give you a bit of a discount since you got the drop on Amberline. What do you say about 35 gold?
How much gold did I have again?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
Let's see if I have your
I forgot
character
to write
sheet.
it down, I think. Wait.
Oh, really?
You have to roll to figure out if you can look in your pockets or not.
The gold has fallen out of my pocket. I remember you said I got some gold.
Yeah, we can. I mean, you'll definitely have enough for that, so we can figure
Alright,
we can
yeah.
figure it out later.
That sounds fine to me.
As for arrows, I could fill your quiver for another 40.
Right, that sounds okay. I
Oh.
need lots of arrows for what we're doing in case we run into something similar we did last time.
Okay, so you can mark plus 25 arrows.
Huh?
25 arrows, and you can mark a vial of moonwell water in your inventory, and then just minus 75 gold. And so, meanwhile, Trixie, you find that there are hoof prints outside of your alchemy lab, and upon closer inspection of the lab itself, you notice that it looks like some of your things have been ever so slightly moved, but it doesn't look like anything has been taken. It's an open... There's only one wall on your alchemy lab, and the rest of it's just totally open, so anybody could have come in here, but it doesn't look like anything is missing.
Trixie is very upset that somebody has invaded her privacy, but is also very, very impressed that they were brave enough to come in here. Were these dryad hoof prints?
It looks like it. I mean, it's hard to tell between a dryad and a deer, but it was either a dryad or a deer.
Oh, you should get Cassie. You might be able to tell the difference.
I would say it's probably a dryad. Okay, she's gonna look around, and you said everything's still here. It's just not.
Some of it's
Just
a
moved
little
around.
moved, yeah.
Trixie's gonna burst out of her lab and start wailing. It's been in my laboratory!
As she does, a lot of the working men turn and stop and look at her, and she sees that in the woods some of the little creatures have run away. Cassie, as you're talking to White Willow, you hear a recognizable gnome scream.
Oh dear, that doesn't sound good.
Dogs get miles
You'll have
away.
to excuse me, Willow. It was a pleasure to meet you, but I have to check on my little pink-haired friend.
Yes, I would say that would be wise.
Until next time.
Yes.
And then she
hopefully
walks
so.
over to Trixie.
Trixie is going to immediately start following the tracks.
All right, go ahead and
He is
roll. Roll your wits plus investigation.
Am I able to get there before she's like run off?
You can see her kind of like digging around in the snow and looking around desperately and kind of walking in circles.
Is that what she's doing?
Yeah.
probably going to end up falling into a snowdrift.
What happened, Trixie? What's up? I heard
Somebody-
you scream.
Somebody's been in my lab. They moved
Someone's
my
been in
things.
your lab.
It's one
What
of
did
those
they
little-
move?
Yeah. That's not important. I mean, they didn't take anything that I can find, but there might be something missing. And it's one of those little deer women.
But surely it would be important what they moved. It might be an indication as to who's been in your thing, in your lab. Sorry, not your thing. I didn't mean to offend you. It's not a thing.
Everything's important.
All right.
Did they move
So-
anything specific, like herbs or vials
There-
or things that have
been produced already? Because she's got some pretty shady things.
It was mostly her regents that were moved around. There was one vial of her soup, her stew, that was slightly
Oh,
moved,
no.
but other than that, it was mostly herbs.
So Cassie looks down at Trixie and is like, well, do you want to find out who's been in there before we go, or do you want to go?
I'd really like to figure out who's been in there because they've been going through my herbs. My herbs are really expensive. It's not exactly easy to find them in this frozen wasteland. I have to find one and then I have to chisel it out of its ice.
Wait, how do you know that it's one of those creatures?
Trixie's gonna point down to the the footprints that she's probably messed up quite a bit.
So Cassie's gonna investigate, obviously, the footprint.
All right, so your wits plus your investigation. You could also use your
She has
survival.
a speciality. She has a speciality in tracking animals investigation.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, use that then.
So that's a +1, right?
Yep.
All right.
So you get down on the ground and you're looking at the prints, and the dryads are probably a little heavier than a deer because they have the big torso on the front, and it looks like the front paws or the front hooves are sinking deeper into the snow than the back ones were. So it was most likely a dryad.
This is definitely no dare footprint.
I'm telling you, it's one of those dryads. Come
Could it be
in
the
and
one that
go
kept...
through all my herb.
Could it be the one that kept trying to get in that you talked about earlier?
Probably. Nosy little things.
Do you know where it is?
No idea. They move around so fast and they go frolicking off like there's not a care in the world.
Right. We could follow the hoof prints if you want.
Yes. But if it's going to be too much trouble, then we'll just skip it and go back to the cave.
Well, I don't hear Shalani yelling at us just yet. If we're quick, we might be able to find out.
Let's go.
Right, so Cassie would try and follow the footprints as best as, or the hoof prints as best as she could.
Okay, so do that same roll again that you did
Okay.
before.
Oh.
All right, so you follow the prints, and they lead you guys on a winding path through the woods on the outskirts of Star's Rest. And you continue to follow them, and they keep going, and they keep going. And it's been about an hour, and you're... you're about, like, maybe a quarter mile away from Star's Rest, if that. And are still following the tracks, and it looks like whoever this dryad was, she was doing lots of like skipping and dancing, and you can see she went and got a drink from the stream, and she went and there's like some deer fur on a tree that she probably rubbed herself up on to scratch herself, and looks like she was just kind of, hanging out.
You know, I get the feeling there was nothing malicious behind this, because this doesn't really scream a person trying to hide where they're going. Or are they an animal or a person? I don't know.
They're just crazy.
But we've been going for a while now, and I think that we might make Shalani very upset if we continue.
You're right. Well, I'll just deal with her when I get back.
If she's not already back.
So, as you guys make your way back to the lab, Trixie, you immediately notice that Some of your stuff has been moved again, and there is a piece of parchment held down by one of your bottles on a table.
Well, I guess I'm going to take it and read it.
All right, here is what it says. And you can read it out loud if you want to.
Well, Trixie, go on. You're reading it.
Okay. Uh-oh. Shalani left us a note.
Oh, what does it say?
Well, it's to both of us. I had thought that the Lich King's dark magic had permanently changed me, erased all that was Shalani, the Light Mother. But something strange has happened, which I cannot explain. When I was in that boat by the strange effigies of the old gods, I felt a spark within that I never knew I would see again. Perhaps it is the light, reaching out to me through the haze of undeath which cloaks my soul, telling me that I must do what I know is right. I feel as if the Naru are guiding me. I shall follow them. You have been true companions, and I hope that I shall see you again.
What?
She's left us. What if it's not a Naru, though? She saw the old gods. What if it's them talking to her?
Oh, what if she... Oh, no. We really need to get to that cave.
You think she went there without us? How are we going to get there? We don't have any horses.
I'm sure we can find some around camp. I don't think Shalani... This doesn't sound like her to me.
I'm really worried. We need to go see if we can't get some horses.
So, as you two go off to go see if you can find some horses, back in Dragonblight, Noibit and Quintley are deep in the mine, the strange cavern. And Quintley, you are looking down at the strange oozing slide and the weird building, the weird pyramid-like structure with the glowing stone.
No, Noibit. Can you hear me? I've got...
Right.
I may be, and he straightens his jacket kind of solemnly as he says this. I may be just a tailor, but I'm also a Forsaken, and I believe in my responsibility to my people. I owe my second chance at life to Lady Sylvanas, and in return I must do all I can to end the abomination that is a scourge.
Okay, this is sounding like a little bit more than what we were planning to do when we came over here.
Now listen, Noibit, here's what's gonna happen. There's a device up here, and I'm gonna try and destroy it, slide back down there, and then we're gonna get out of here down the other tunnel. What I need you to do is be ready to shoot any Nerubians that try and stop us.
Okay, now you're speaking my language. I got the bada boomstick right here.
And Quintley is going to take out all of his samples of cloth and start tying them together to make a rope.
Oh, excellent. Okay, go ahead and do your dexterity plus your crafts.
Okay.
Nice. All right, so you easily create a rope out of your various bits of cloth. What are you going to do with it?
He's going to tie it to one end of his cane.
Okay.
And then if he's made kind of like a long chain with the cane at the end as a weight, he's going to try to, as quietly and inconspicuously as possible, walk over to the pyramid structure and try to swing his new weapon at that crystal.
So you would have to go down the slide first to get down to it, unless you want to try to throw it from up where you are, which is also a possibility.
How far away am I from the structure?
You're a good 15 to 20 feet away from it.
Okay, so I could conceivably start swinging this thing and see if I connect with the gem.
Yeah, it is possible.
Okay, I think that would probably be best.
Okay, so go ahead and do your dexterity plus your athletics. All right, so you toss the cane, and it hooks on one of the large, spindly, bone-like structures that are coming up, and swings around it and has a nice, firm grip on it.
Okay. Not quite what I was trying. Does this work? Okay, so it's got a nice firm grip on the structure of the pyramid or the gem.
No, it didn't. It didn't quite get to the gem. It got on one of the finger bone-like protrusions that are coming up around the gem, though.
He's gonna tug on the line and see if it seems like he could pull that bone free.
It looks like he might be able to, but it would take quite a feat of strength to do so.
Okay.
And it's certainly possible for him to try again, but you would have to kind of like whip the cloth.
Try to get it untangled.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's gonna try to get it untangled.
All right. So with a little bit of whipping, you manage to do so, and the cane comes loose and is still attached to the cloth, but is swinging below you.
All right, so he sings Vampire Killer from Castlevania. Just kidding. He tries again.
All right, go ahead. So he throws it again, and it soars through the air and doesn't quite make it and swings down.
Okay. All right.
Hey, buddy, you need some help up there. It sounds like you're having a rough time.
You think you can get up here?
I can give it a go.
So Quintley's going to try to get it untangled, and this time dangle the rope down the chute to help Noibit up.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So Noibit, do your dexterity plus athletics, and since he has the rope coming for you, you only have to succeed once.
Nice.
All right. So
I think I got
Noibit
that.
scurries up the rope and gets up to the circular chamber that you're in, looking down at the large pyramid-like structure below.
All right. So we're trying to break that big glowy thing, right?
That's correct. And I suggest we be in a position to slide back down as soon as it's destroyed.
I could always take a shot at it.
I think that's wise.
All right. I got this. Let's take a crack at it.
So Quintley gathers up the rope and holds on to his cane and gets ready to slide down if the gem is struck by the bottom of the stick.
All right. Okay, go ahead and roll your dexterity plus your weaponry.
Yes. I don't add anything for the gun itself to that, right? Or do I?
You should. Let me see what I have here for you.
Okay, it's 6 dice for that. I didn't know if we were adding the weapon or not.
Yeah, you can add the weapon damage too.
Excellent.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of numbers.
That is a lot of numbers.
Okay, do that 10 again.
Hey, look at that.
And again.
I think I'm gonna let Mal help me with my character sheets from now on.
All right,
So
so
much destruction.
you fire and black powder blasts everywhere and you almost fall back and the stone hits the crystal. A crack runs up the side of it and it shatters into pieces. And as it does,
Brilliant.
you hear...
And that is the sound of us making our exit in a timely and orderly fashion.
Onward, Noibit. And Quintley slides down the way they came.
And what does Neubit
And
do?
I am going right after him.
All right, so as you guys are sliding down, Neubit, you take one last glance at the large room with the crystal before you go down, and you see 5 or 6 giant spider creatures coming crawling up the sides of the walls after you guys. And that is where we will end today's session.
How exciting.
All right, awesome, guys. That was great.
And then
Yeah.
Never doubt the bada boom
cocoons
stick.
suspended from the cabin ceiling.
So glad that Noibit's back.
It's good to be back, you know. It's like, it's community.
Can't wait for these 4 to meet up again.
I know.
It's gonna be a disaster.
Awesome. Well,
The SS Trixie Noibit is gonna be leaving the shore very soon.
Yeah.
that sounds.
I
gross.
really want to ship the 2 of them. Seriously, they're perfect for each other. She likes burning things. He likes exploding things. They're like meant
Hey.
to be.
Hey, I don't do stealth pink, all right?
How
Yes.
dare you?
Awesome. Well, guys, we'll have the next episode up once this video is up on YouTube. The date of the next episode will be in the description, and we will also have it up on our Twitter. And if you guys have Engine, you should follow me on Engine because I post all kinds of updates about RPHQ stuff there. Before we play our final song and say goodbye for today, I want to thank the supporters of the show and the entire project that is Roleplay Headquarters, who on patreon.com/rphq give us a little money in exchange for patron-exclusive extras like rock and roleplay videos, character sheets, secret information, vlogs about RPHQ, that kind of stuff. And
My background story.
and all background stories from all of the characters here, our initial role plays that we did to kind of figure out what the characters are like, practice using the dice system. So there's a good, 3 hours more of entertainment there. And so thank you to our patrons who are Hedgie, Igmund, Afif the Brave, Evoba, Genghis Girl, Dominator046, Benny the Guar, Art, Xeroxed Animus, Wolfsong, and our newest patron, Winroth. Thank you guys so much. And now...
Many high fives. Virtual high fives.
Yes.
Thanks for coming and thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Yes.
All great people.
All right, so here we go with the last song. This is a song by the band Disenchanter from Portland, and it is called Into Darkness.
Bye.
Bye.